What's going on, everyone? Kim Becker and Drew Kreisman here for your weekly AMA for the Colorado Rockies, who have a few more wins under their belt this week. Drew, how we feeling?
There they go. Look at them. Look, 8 out of 10. Believe it or not, 3 series in a row. This is unusual, but you have some fun with it while it lasts. Look at them go.
Absolutely. Don't get used to it, but have some fun with it. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Some good reasons to be excited about the Rockies in this particular moment. But we'll get to some questions to kind of dive into that a little bit more here. Thank you to everybody that sent in questions. We've been getting a lot of really good ones for the Rockies AMAs, so I'm having a good time with this one. This first question: should more Rockies head down to AAA to get some batting practice with the coach down there, or should that hitting coach make his way up to Denver? What do you think about this one?
I love this question a lot because it's actually the opposite of. I think a lot of people are really frustrated the Rockies keep sending these guys down to AAA, and I love that this question is like, I don't know though. They keep sending them down there, and then these guys are raking. Maybe there's something magical going on down in Albuquerque. Maybe it's the hitting coach, who, by the way, is former Colorado Rocky Jordan Pacheco. For those of you who followed that one season when he was pretty darn good. Unfortunately, no. The answer to this little puzzle is probably and sadly almost as simple as the pitching at AAA is not as good as the pitching in Major League Baseball, and it's easier to hit there. That said, it is better to have your prospects hitting well than not. That doesn't mean that every prospect who's in AAA is automatically going to hit well for your ball club. And Nolan Jones, Alauris Montero, since he was sent down, which I was very vocal about not being in favor of, still, he's been raking, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that necessarily means that they're doing a better job of instruction or development down there. Much to the chagrin of a lot of Rockies fans out there, I think it's actually evidence that they're doing maybe the right thing. Sorry, but sometimes just because a guy's 24, 25 doesn't mean he's necessarily automatically ready to make his big league debut or to be an everyday player. There are little things that can make the difference between being able to hang at that level and not. And for better or worse, sometimes I think for worse, but right now it may be for these guys better that they're getting that extra work in at AAA, that they're gaining that confidence, that they're getting the feeling of success under their belts, and that they're going to be able to come back to the big leagues in some cases or make their debuts in some other cases with a lot stronger of a foundation for success.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously we'll have to see how their careers play out in the long term. But as far as the hitting coaches go, I think you got Pacheco right where you like him. I think you let him work his magic where he's working his magic. And as of late, the Rockies just scored double digits a couple of times on this road trip. The hitting from Bam Bam, the big league coach, has been a lot better there too. So maybe just see how the offenses go at both levels for the next month here, because cooking with gasoline a little bit right now.
We'll take it. We will absolutely take it. All right. Some rule changes, obviously, this season. So this question kind of tacked on to that situation. The Rockies catchers are doing great throwing out base runners. Does the pitch clock rule help with this? What do you think?
I would say that their adaptation to, or adapting to, however you're supposed to use that word in that sentence, is, I think they've adapted to the new rule better than most other teams from a catcher standpoint, from a pitcher-catcher standpoint. Bud Black has always had a particular mindset for how quick his pitchers are to the plate. There's a whole dynamic there. I can hear my dad from my Little League days yelling, "You don't steal on the catcher, you steal on the pitcher." Because I was a catcher, but he was, you got to do all these things. But a lot of times, you're going because the pitcher's not doing their jobs. And on that and other things lately, even the Rockies pitchers have been very good. That and Elias Diaz has an absolute hose, just a cannon. He's always been good at throwing guys out. I think kind of low key under the radar. He's been one of the better catchers in baseball for the last couple of years at throwing runners out. It slides under the radar because when he doesn't hit, then he doesn't play and people aren't talking about him. But this year he's hitting fantastic and he's throwing everybody out. He's been one of the best catchers in the National League all around, actually. And yeah, I do think he's just adapted to the rule better. They've got the the nuances down. Other teams are trying to take advantage. You saw the Pirates do it a lot over the last couple of days, just go, and they got thrown out runner after runner after runner. It was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that like we were talking so much crap about what was going to happen this season, and now we're like, okay, this is fun. We'll keep going with some positives here. And
all I got to do, Kim, is break my 10-year routine of saying that they'll never lose 100 games. I came on this show one time and you asked me or through the fans, are they going to lose 100? And I said, yeah, I think it's finally going to happen. And then they rattle off 8 of 10 wins.
I know. I think it was just last week because I was giving myself a pat on the back for saying that I took the under. And I was like, you all didn't listen to me. Look at this. And now, yeah, they've won 8 of the last 10. So I'm the one that's now kicking myself in the you-know-what instead of patting myself on the back probably. But, oh, well. We still
long
got a lot
season,
of games.
But we'll see.
long way to go still. All right, we have several more questions to get to here. This next one, does Brenton Doyle have what it takes to continue this run and stick with the big league roster for the rest of the season, which is long?
Boy, which as we said, a lot of games. I hope so. The bat isn't quite there yet. But I love his game. He's playing great defense. He's doing all the little things right. And even the at-bats. This is one of those things, you've got to be careful about just looking at the batting average and be like, well, that's not very good. He's not good. Right? Especially with a young player where those of you who are students of Rockies history, they run the gamut, right? Brendan Rodgers had just an abysmal start to his major league career. His first 100 bats in the big leagues, he didn't look like he belonged, right? Then there have been some other guys. Ryan McMahon really struggled to make his impact. Raimel Tapia was a guy who took a long time to finally settle in. And then on the other side, you've got your Trevor Stories who come out and hit 2 home runs in their first game, 27 home runs their rookie season. That can happen too. But Doyle's basically what I'm trying to say, right in the middle of that spectrum. He's not Trevor Story or David Dahl the way they were their rookie campaigns. But he's not struggling the way that we've seen other guys who turned out to be very good baseball players struggle in their first 50 to 100 at-bats. He's not, swinging at a ton of stuff out of the zone. He's not flailing up there. He doesn't look like he doesn't belong, right? He's just not quite getting the results yet. And then when he does get the results, when he does manage to get himself on base, draw the walk, get the base hit, he's maximizing every single element of that. Once he's on base, I think he already leads the Rockies in stolen bases, even though he got here a week and a half ago, right? Because every time he gets on, that bag is his. He's got elite level speed. He's got elite level defense. He's tracking balls down in the gap. So, he didn't get a hit in the decisive game in the Pittsburgh series, but he threw the potential go-ahead winning run for the Pirates out at home plate. That's just as good as hitting a home run in my book.
Yeah.
So I couldn't be more hype on Brenton Doyle right now. Good. Sure, you'd love to see him hit a little, but my whole camera just, I don't know what just happened. My screen just died. But, all right, whatever. But yeah, I guess my long-winded answer to the question is I sure hope so. Because he is as exciting as anything to watch on this team right now.
Nice. Well, that says a lot, knowing this team. All right, moving on. Do you see the Rockies going to a bullpen day for the 5th day starts?
Oh, boy. I don't know. Okay, so intrinsic in this question is an understanding that Antonio Senzatella now has a forearm tightness issue. And anyone who follows pitching knows that's the last 2-word phrase you want to hear. We heard it right before Marquez, and it's going to be a while before for him, for the team, for everyone involved, that's devastating. Yeah. To tear your ACL, come back, pitch one pretty great ball game in New York, and then maybe have to go right back on a long-term IL stint. Antonio Senzatella has meant a great deal to this team. He's a really, really good kid. I call him a kid because I met him when he was 21. He's like 27 now, or 28. He's 28, but he's just one of those people that you root for in life, and it was really brutal. So you just hope, But I don't know what they do, folks. This is wild. Maybe the craziest thing about the fact that they've won so many games lately is that they're doing it without Marquez. I mean, Noah Davis got hurt. Even their depth is hurt. They're reaching into, they've already gone to Connor Siebold, who was their long reliever when they started the season, and he made a great start yesterday.
Yeah.
But what do you do? Maybe Peter Lambert is the guy. He had to step in after Senzatella went down, and he looked good for a couple of innings, but are you forcing him into too much action, too much wear and tear on Peter's arm because he hardly pitched the last 2 years? Some of their prospects aren't ready to go. They might have to make an acquisition, and not like it's a weird thing to say for a team that's still probably going to be a losing team and not going to go super far, but just to make sure that you got a guy.
Yeah, no kidding. Kind of need that.
There's that line in Moneyball when the manager comes to argue his contract with Billy Beane, Brad Pitt's Billy Beane, and they're arguing on the contract. And he says, I got to field the team first, because right now, if a ground ball is hit to first base, no one's going to be there to field it. and I feel like the Rockies rotation is getting to the point where it's like, we need a fifth starter. We just don't have one.
Where are we going to get one? Yeah.
Yeah. So bullpen is probably the best they can do, or some combination of Peter Lambert, who is already in the bullpen, so that might be the same thing. But,
right.
Oof. But the fact that they didn't lose 10 of their last 10 games, everything that's going on with the news and already struggling, it's been wild to see these guys step up, pitch well, play well with all this news going on around them. So who knows? Let's see what happens next.
Hey, let's see what happens. Maybe they do actually have what it takes, and we haven't been given enough credit. So
you never know.
Time will tell. All right, Montero. What is Montero's long-term spot in the plans?
I hope big boy hitter guy.
Your eyes got so wide. I was like, oh boy.
Oh boy, he's about to do the Montero rant again. I really hope that it's a hitter. I've speculated a couple of times before. Since he's gone back down to AAA, he hasn't played any third base. It's just been first base and DH. The Rockies are in this weird sort of window right now where they have a decent number of players on their team who are veterans, who play those kind of corner, non-defensive positions. Charlie Blackmon plays a lot of DH. CJ Cron's your first baseman, plays some DH. Those types of guys. Big, lumbering, non-defensive hitter dudes, right? And then, right, and they're likely to be off the team next season.
Yeah.
So I assume in 2024, opening day, Eleuris Montero is your DH, especially if he's, and it's kind of that for the future. Can fill in at first base if he needs to. I hope that is the plan, because I really believe that the kid is going to hit. He can really rake. He's got power to all fields. I like his profile at the plate. I agree with the team that his defense is not there. But I would have liked to have seen him get a longer leash. That said, as long as they don't just give up on him and trade him for peanuts, or if they trade him for decent pitching, then okay, then you've done a decent thing. But don't trade him on a giving up on his defense from a place of weakness, right? Like I think he's going to hit in the bigs, and the Rockies need guys who are going to hit in the bigs.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay. 2 more questions to wrap this one up. Some good stuff here. Is the lack of trust in young hitters an organizational thing, a Bud Black thing, or is it both? Thinking specifically about how Doyle was handled yesterday. Let's talk on that one.
Pinch hit 4 in a big spot. Didn't love it. Not going to lie. They did it with Ezekiel Tovar a couple of times recently too. So it's a little bit of both in my estimation. I think the organization agrees with Bud Black, and that's part of why they've kind of hired him sort of indefinitely to run the team, is that they agree with that general mindset of, the young player has to prove themselves, and that the veteran player with a track record in, the big moment, the big opportunity, sort of, if you see the two things as equal, you go with the veteran, right? That's how they've been for quite a while. It's absolutely Bud Black's philosophy. And there have been a lot of times I've thought that's the way to go. In 17 and 18, when the team was competitive, made perfect sense to me. Now I feel like it might be better to have a little younger mindset, a little more forward-thinking mindset with some of these guys. Um, I kind of did a 15-minute. If you want a longer version of this, I did a 15-minute rant on this one decision, pinch hitting Charlie Blackmon for Brenton Doyle, despite the fact that it directly led to the Rockies winning the baseball game. I don't know that it was the right thing to do, even if Doyle strikes out or hits into a double play there, because I think the learning opportunity for him, you want him to do that now in May of 2023, so that when you're battling for a wild card spot in July of 2024, it's not his first time. It's not, well, all of my high leverage at bats went to Charlie Blackmon. Now there's time between now and then for him to get some. And I'm sure if Bud Black was sitting here next to me, he was like, come on, dude, you guys were just talking about how many games there are, how many at bats there are. I wanted to get that one in Pittsburgh. So I put in a lefty hitter. It was the better matchup, and we won the ball game. What are you talking about?
Why are you complaining? Yeah.
Right. But I do want to see them, and not only just for the growth of them, but for the trust of them. These young guys are going to have to be the ones who win you ball games in the future.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Harold Castro and Randall Grichuk, who I really enjoy watching play baseball, by the way. But these guys, Mike Moustakas, I love Mike Moustakas. I'm ready to start the Mike Moustakas fan club, by the way.
There we go.
Just talking to the guy. He's
That's
everything
cool.
you want out of veteran presence, clubhouse guy, off
That's great.
knows his role. Great. They should trade him immediately. But I love, well, maybe not immediately, but as soon as a team offers him something decent, then I love him.
Yeah.
Right? Because those guys aren't helping you win baseball games in 24 and beyond.
Right.
Tovar and Doyle
Okay.
and Montero.
Okay.
Those guys are your future.
All right. All right. Well, staying on the same tune as the future, this last question, so emotional, hits us right in the little heartstrings. Why do I have hope?
Hope.
The
elusive, everlasting.
That four-letter word.
Never false hope. I do not believe in false hope. It's a great speech on a TV show I liked years ago. No. There can be false promises, right? But there cannot be false hope.
Mm-hmm.
Your hope is in your heart. Your hope belongs to you. It is real and it is true.
Tell yourself you have it.
It's a funny thing. They're human beings.
They are.
And we run a lot of statistics in baseball. I've got spreadsheets that honestly are embarrassing. Like, do I need that much data on this team?
Never too much data.
Never too much. But at the end of the day, a lot of what my job is in prognosticating and analyzing for the future is to guess what's going to end up going on between Ryan Feltner's mind 2 or 3 days from now.
Mm-hmm.
How Kyle Freeland is going to respond to an error committed behind him. Whether or not Brenton Doyle is going to be a guy who hits 200 all year because he's a rookie whose other skills are ahead of his bat, or if suddenly we're talking about a surprise rookie of the year candidate that nobody had on their radar. These things happen all the time in sports and especially in baseball. And so, no, I don't believe in false hope.
Yeah.
Do I believe the Colorado Rockies will continue to win ball games at the rate they have been lately? I do not. I do not. But that they can play at that level is, I think, all the reason to continue to watch and find out for ourselves, because no one's got a crystal ball.
Nope.
And we don't know who of these guys is going to emerge and do something special. And if ever there was a team to root for to just not fall apart after what's gone on here with Marquez and Senzatelli, you lose 2 of your 3 best pitchers, but you roll off some wins, you got to root for these kids at this point.
Totally. They are human beings. And that is the bottom line and the silver lining, definitely, to remember to have hope and positivity and optimism for this team. But it has been fun this past week. We'll see what this next week entails for sure. And we'll chat about it in our next AMA. Drew, I want to thank you so much for giving your insight, and thank you to everybody for sending in your questions, because as much as we were underwhelmed going into this season, it's definitely been kind of surprising and delightfully surprising the last couple of weeks. So it's been fun, Drew. Thank you.
It's been fun. That's right. You took the words right out of my mouth.
It's been
That's what
fun.
it's been. Fun.
And if you're not having fun, what are you doing? Right?
It's sports, folks.
Exactly. Have some fun. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.